I want to ask you three just quick questions, or bring your attention to three quick things. Just number one, I'd ask for, because I was observing the committee hearings from another room, and I noticed that nobody asked you to come to their district yet. So I believe in first come, first serve. So I just want to say, please take the time, come down to my district. There's a few things that I want to show you, and since I was the first one to ask, that means I get priority.
The senators were much more aggressive on coming to states.
Second thing I'd ask you to just take time to review is the mega grant program. Under the previous administration, there was guidance that if there was a grant received on one front, and if, for example, if you're doing a rail line, obviously rail lines are long, they span entire states and multi-states, that you couldn't necessarily have another grant in a different area. I would ask that you would review that and see if we're going to have the same guidance under the Trump administration than under the Biden administration. And the third point that I would want to bring to you, switching more to the aviation side of things, is parts manufacturers' approval applications, aftermarket parts for aircraft engines, things like that. If we could just have a review of the timelines that the FAA is allowing to go on, just very long periods of time to get these parts approved. It's not something that I think benefits safety in the skies. I don't think that it benefits the passengers and the affordability of air travel when you think about getting these updated parts into aircraft systems. So it's just something that I'd like you to pay attention to, all three of those issues. That's my
I'll take a look at, on the aviation side, I'll take a look at that. I would just note that the FAA has a fantastic safety record, but they move fantastically slow.
There you go.
Duly noted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Secretary Duffy, in March, members of this committee wrote the FAA with concerns about the conflicts of interest with SpaceX employees consulting at the FAA. In the FAA's response yesterday, FAA admitted that conflicts of interest existed and that the SpaceX insiders were strangely given waivers. However, the letter didn't address how the Department of Transportation would safeguard the integrity of the system. So can you tell me why were these personnel given waivers, and how is SpaceX competitor information being protected? And how is FAA ensuring that SpaceX will not have an unfair advantage in awarding government contracts?
Thank you for that question. I don't know the letter you have in front of you, but I know how this was set up. I knew that everyone would be concerned about SpaceX coming to the FAA. And what we did was specifically guardrail them off from anything in space. And what they really did was they came and looked at our air traffic control system. They talked to controllers. They talked to our tech people. They actually saw what equipment air traffic controllers were using. And if I'm just really honest with you, I didn't understand how bad it was. Maybe most of you did. And it was through those engineers that were walking through what the problems are and what we have to do to fix it. It was a cascading set of, it's telecom, it's radars date back to the 1970s. So to make you feel comfortable, they had nothing to do with anything in space. It truly was air traffic controllers and the equipment that they use. I am committed to being fair with everybody. I want more competition. I want a lot of companies competing in all these spaces.
So are you saying that SpaceX is not going to be in competition for anything around this project?
With regard to the air traffic control rebuild?
Yeah.
Oh, so I imagine at some point Starlink could bid on whether there's issues that we could use satellite communications.
Well, do you think there should be guardrails around that?
Well, I guess I would just note that the option of using Starlink was brought up in the last administration, and there was no issue with it. This was not about using Starlink or using cell phone towers. It was really about the infrastructure with copper to fiber. It was the systems that they were using to analyze airplanes on their scopes. That was the true focus. And so, again, I don't want to give any fair disadvantage to one company over the next.
Can you tell me how common it is for these waivers to be given?
A waiver to come in and
a waiver where a company might have a conflict of interest and is waived out.
I would argue there was not really a conflict looking at copper versus fiber. I think all of you would go, that's a really important conversation to have that doesn't have anything about rockets or Starlink. The scopes they use, Starlink doesn't do any of that. 90-some% of this build is going to be, on telecom, is going from copper, which, by the way, just going to give you guys a side note, we were going to spend $800 billion a year in obsolescence fees. 800 million. $800 million, almost $1 billion in obsolescence fees that we got our telecom providers to give back to us. But our whole rebuild budget was going in obsolescence fees. We got the partnership to stop that, but we have to go to fiber because no one has copper anymore. So that was the mission, not some competitive advantage to Starlink. And by the way, these are like tech guys. These are not business guys. They're like the tech ops guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate the question. Thanks for letting me clarify.
I want to lay out 3 problems quickly and 3 potential legislative solutions, and then just give you an opportunity to respond to any and all. First off, I think it's an embarrassment that the same transportation project that Germany can permit in 6 months takes 6 years to permit in this country. I know you share that frustration. And as you no doubt know, an interactive cloud-based review platform can increase review times or reduce review times by 50%. The administration and your department have taken some good moves to move toward more of a cloud-based platform. I've got a bill, the E-Permit Act, that I think would probably be a great partnership with your department that would mandate the use of that cloud-based review platform. That's number one. Number two, there are substantial national security risks posed by having LiDAR manufactured by our adversaries, the Chinese Communist Party and their partners, and then being installed close to sensitive pieces of American infrastructure. I think it's insane to give our adversaries precise details over railways, roads, ports, other pieces of critical transportation infrastructure. So I have a bill that would prohibit taxpayer dollars from DOT going toward projects that would utilize those sort of LiDAR sensors manufactured by our adversaries. Then number 3, it's absurd that we have sanctuary cities who ignore federal law, allow anti-ICE rioters to destroy transportation infrastructure, and then those same local governments will turn around and ask the federal government to foot the bill for the repairs. I'm going to be introducing a bill that would make it clear no DOT funds can go to those sanctuary cities. Any reaction on any of those 3 pieces of legislation, sir?
So I'll do the first one last. I couldn't agree with you more. If you allow your city to be burned, or even in LA when we're allowing rioters to destroy our streets, the federal taxpayer should not come back and then rebuild that, what they allowed to be destroyed. I would concur. I would also agree. I'd like to look at your bill on LiDAR in China, but you raised a really important point. And the first bill you had was on what?
The e-permit. Cloud-based platform for NEPA review.
I'd like to look at that as well. But at DOT proper, we are trying to consolidate. We have like 12 different programs in regard to grants, and then tech and programming and computers. Like everything's different, all under DOT. We want to consolidate, and so we can have a dashboard where all of you can see where your grants are. Your constituents can see, where's my grant, how fast is it moving, and then what I want for you to do is, if you want to do oversight with us, I can easily then, you got the documents, I know you have them, just hit a couple buttons and print them off and send them over, and not just for me, but for the next administration as well, to say, hey, it's going to drive transparency, and I think you make it
We
really
cannot realize the golden age of America if it takes us a decade to build anything. Thank you for your cooperation with that, Mr. Chairman. I would yield back.
Welcome back to my classmate, Secretary Duffy. Just this week, the Miami Herald released a report highlighting the need for stronger rail safety commitments in South Florida. In my community, we have high-speed trains going through quiet zones in heavily traveled areas that are crossing at grade. Each of these factors alone creates an unnecessary risk. But together, we've made South Florida home to both the most and 6th most dangerous railroads in the country, according to the Miami Herald, based on deaths per million miles traveled. This is a distinction that I want to end. We need an all-of-the-above approach to address this crisis. That means investing in rail safety programs like consolidated rail infrastructure and safety improvements and railroad crossing elimination programs. And we also need to increase investments in quad gate technology and fencing to help secure highway grade crossings. I'm proud to see the Northeast Corridor moving forward at the federal level, but the North Corridor has been in the works for over 40 years, and we need federal action. Secretary Duffy, in October 2024, the department announced a $25 million Infra grant award to Port Miami. This investment will continue to spur growth at Port Miami, an amazing economic engine that is responsible for 340,000 jobs and an economic impact of $61 billion. I want you to advise if the department plans to obligate these funds for this critical infrastructure project in fiscal year 2026.
So maybe starting on that one first. Yeah, no, I don't see any issue with us moving forward, obligating that announcement. I'd like to take a look at it as well, but I would see nothing wrong with that. It seems like it would be in line with also the president's priorities as well. In regard to Brightline, I think is what you're referring to. There are way too many deaths there, and I know that it's a big story in regard to just people not following traffic signs. There's some suicides, and there's accidents as well. And I commit to working with you to drive down the number of deaths, making investments along that line. So I'd welcome that opportunity. And it's also hard if you're on a train where someone loses their life. It's not like the person or their family that lost their life, but I know many Republicans were on a train where that very thing happened, and it's horrible for everybody involved, and we have to try to get that number to zero.
I have a whole bunch of questions to submit to you for answers, so I'm going to call you because 3 or 5 minutes is not sufficient. So I'll be calling you about the World Cup.
FIFA is, yes, I want to support that. We have a huge role in FIFA in making sure transit works, and this is a showcase of America. We'll need your help with the resources for that, but yes, we can talk about the others on a phone call.
Thank you.
Mr. Secretary, I believe the future is very bright, right? The Senate confirmed Mr. Bedford the other day, the FAA administrator. I think he's going to do a great job. You're doing a fantastic job. One big, beautiful bill, $12.5 billion. Down payment, agree. Get the other $8 billion. I think we can do it. I think we'll have bipartisan support. We have to, right? We have $12.5 billion for modernizing the ATC. I think it's bigger than that. I think it's modernizing the NAS, the National Airspace. It's got bringing in the new entrants. We got to bring it all together. It's just more than the ATC. 100%. It's just more than ATC. The Modern Skies Coalition, all on board with your plan, with the president's plan. I think it's great. We're bringing in stakeholders. I'm having monthly meetings with all these stakeholders, these smart people, right? The smart people, the industry leaders, gifted, talented people. We're meeting every month to talk about what is modernizing the ATC. What the hell does that really even mean? So we're bringing all these people together. We're doing good. I know you're doing what you're doing. We will all come together. It's going to take all of us. We owe it to the American people, the people that travel. We owe them the gold standard. We want to claim the gold standard, and we certainly owe it to the 67 lives that were lost over the Potomac. We must do better, and we can do better, and it's going to require all of us to work together. The supersonic, you know, the president out there was talking about supersonic. We should do that. We should get that done. I filed a bill on this thing to get supersonic. We haven't had it since '73. What are your thoughts on it? Don't you think we need to move in that direction?
100% I agree. We need to allow this. There's new innovation, computer technology, how sound waves bounce off the atmosphere. Yeah, we can do this. We should do this.
We should. I mean, by 2030, United Airlines, they've ordered 15 from Boom. I mean, it's there.
It's real.
The boom won't hit the ground, so those that are concerned about grandma's going to be in her kitchen and the window's going to break is all ridiculous. It's not going to happen. So this is a great thing, and I want to continue to work with you on our legislation to get this and move it forward as it fits right in line with President Trump's goals and objectives. And one other thing, the joint ventures with Allegiant. So we both agree with President Trump that our government must function in a timely manner to truly benefit the American people. To this end, Allegiant and Viva Bus Aerobus joint venture is a great example of this, and their application's been pending for 3.5 years by DOT. The previous administration neglected it, and we just want to make sure that the alliance application for Allegiant and Viva, while allowing legacy carriers, Delta has it. Delta has a deal down with Aeromexico. We need to do this for Allegiant and allow people to travel to the islands low carrier people, we got to do this. I need a commitment from you that we'll look into this. It's your signature.
I had a brief on this very issue.
Yeah.
6 weeks, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I will look at it again, and let's stay in close
I want to talk to you.
coordination
Maybe
on
I'll
it.
see you in Oshkosh next week.
I would welcome that.
Thanks.
First of all, I'll do my own district issue. We have a mega grant that I've worked on since we both had dark hair. It's $166 million. It's in the 680 corridor. Major business presence, Chevron, Safeway, AT&T. We work closely with the business community, so I'd like to follow up with you and see where that is. And I have had a bipartisan frustration with multiple departments in Region 9 over so project delivery, I'd love to work with you on that. Getting a project like that out that's been multiple RTPs to get it done that we have consensus on.
I will take a look at that and get back to you on where we're at, and I'm sure Hannah will help with that too.
Okay. We always go to the staff first. We're always in charge.
It's our secret.
I'd like to talk to you about something that we disagree on, but I'd like to do it more in a conversational way. As someone who's been very involved in air quality in California, I've served under Republican governors and Democratic governors on the California Air Resources Board, and the ability to have choice. I was fortunate enough to get the Clean Corridor bill in and passed with billions of dollars for charging stations. And I don't know if you saw the New York Times story recently about the Chinese and BYD. It's a heavily subsidized car company, but we've got to have choices. And regardless of what your feeling is about climate change, there's a market for choices, but they've got to have the infrastructure. So the Chinese now have 3 million, I think, charging stations. They're closing in on Toyota in terms of capacity. They're dominating the Asian market. How do we work in a way that gives consumers choices? And even though I have a very heavy fossil fuel presence in my district, 5 refineries, Chevron, you wouldn't be surprised in the Bay Area, people are early adapters. So how do we work on this in a way that's agnostic in terms of, as strongly as I believe in climate change, from an economic competitiveness, we're losing the competitiveness in this market to the Chinese?
Well, I like the form of your question. I do believe in competitiveness too, and I believe in personal choice. I don't think this body or the DOT should try to force people to buy things they don't want. And so in northern Wisconsin, EVs don't work so well. There's no chargers, and it's really cold, and batteries don't work well when it's cold. We saw this in Chicago a couple of years ago. So I think in certain regions, in urban areas, it's probably more popular. In more rural areas, in northern areas, it's not as much. And that's why I think people should have the right to choose. And again, I don't think we should put our thumb on the scale one way or the other.
And we could look at subsidies equally. As the fossil fuel industry has been subsidized for decades, this industry has to be subsidized, set up. So that'll be on my list when I come to see you, and I hope Hannah will be in that meeting.
Deal. We'll make sure of it.
3 minutes goes fast.
Earlier this year, the president made fiscal responsibility a priority, and he asked our department heads to conduct audits of how their agencies were spending taxpayer dollars. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle and the media decided to fearmonger and spread misinformation about what this was meant for the projects across the country, to review them and look at the spending. Could you take a moment to share what the goals of this audit were and what you were able to achieve?
So at DOT, again, the last administration put in a lot of requirements around social justice and around the green priorities, which, by the way, the Congress didn't put those priorities in, the last administration did. So what I've done is tried to pull those out, and it's important because that means that you can put more of that money toward building the project as opposed to all the requirements around the money that the Congress didn't contemplate. And so that has been a key part of it. You've known that we're trying to do more with less in our department, streamline our staffing, all the while protecting the safety positions. But can we do more with less and save the taxpayer money? We've done a lot on contracts. We saved $1 billion in some wasteful contracts where we don't get big deliverables. And we've looked at all those, and we want to make sure that people provide great service for the money that we give, and if you don't, we're getting rid of the contracts.
So I want to be very clear. So a project like the Blotnick Bridge in Minnesota that connects Minnesota and Wisconsin was never in jeopardy.
No.
Those are the type of projects we want, correct?
Of course, great big projects.
Thank you.
I just reviewed Botnick, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. That's a great project, a great bridge that connects our two states.
There was some fear-mongering about that, so I wanted to make it clear. So in my district, the Duluth International Airport, an airport I know you have flown out of, has the third oldest air traffic control tower in the country. It is in rough condition, and Mr. Secretary, and that's the nicest way I can describe it. Yet, despite the inadequacies, Duluth International Airport provides a critical role in generating local employment by supporting regional aviation activity, joint civil-military operations, and all businesses located in Duluth, roughly 4,000 jobs. It also contributes an estimated $1.4 billion to the economy. First, Mr. Secretary, I would like to extend an invitation for you to visit the air traffic control tower.
I'd welcome that.
And then second, could you share how critical air traffic control tower infrastructure is to your vision for modernizing air traffic control?
Listen, it's critical. Again, a lot of the towers and TRACONs and the centers are becoming dilapidated. And it's our job to actually rebuild them and make them worthy of the greatest country on earth. And therefore, the equipment we put in is also the best in the world.
Our air safety is a gold standard.
Gold standard.
Yeah. I hope this Congress can provide the necessary financial investments to make modernization a reality. Additionally, we need to provide your agency with the flexibility it requires so that towers like Duluth, which is locally owned but FAA operated, are not left behind in your mission to modernize. And I would ask that you would take that into consideration and this body as well.
100%.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your
you.
great work.